Good morning. I'm Zack Deris, the host of Blockchain Recruiters event, How NFTs are Changing the Job Market, Part 2. For those of you that tuned in last week, you would have seen over 17 fantastic speakers give their journey. How NFTs are changing the job market. To give their journey in terms of where have they come from and what they're achieving within the NFT space so far. On our event today, we have another lineup of about 17 more incredible speakers all over the globe from so many different NFT related businesses, and they're going to do exactly the same. They're going to give you so much knowledge and so much information to inspire you guys to get involved in this space. If you want to get in contact with anyone who's speaking at this event, all of the links to their social media channels are in the description of this video that's streaming right now live on YouTube. So either before or after the event, feel free to click on anyone's link so you can get in contact with them directly. I'm going to start the show by introducing the Chief Visionary Officer for Blockchain Recruiters. His name is David James. And he's just going to give an introduction to the show. Hey, David, thanks for joining. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, Zach. Thank you very much for all your efforts, the tireless time that you put. For those of you who don't know, Zach never sleeps. As a matter of fact, we're going to actually have to give him a direct order to actually sleep. So, but anyhow, your enthusiasm is infectious, and I appreciate it. And I want to welcome and thank all the speakers who are actually bequeathing their very valuable time. Zach, mute yourself. As well as everybody who actually is tuned in. I just want to talk a little bit about me for a second. I consider myself quite an unremarkable guy in most everything I've ever done, with the exception of recruiting. It's like, this is that one thing where I've had like an alien ability to see. And there's just nothing more empowering for me to help somebody get a job. And, so really, I'm out there in life looking for all the answers that everybody else is. And, I've had my hard knocks and my ups and downs, always as it's related to recruiting, owning my own recruiting firms or working for other people. And one of the things I noticed is that when it comes to working and having jobs, there's always the element of fear, right? And I always say to people, how do you actually stay in love and fall in love with that thing that's important to you that you do, and still be in love with yourself? I want to help you fall in love with the thing you love and stay in love with yourself. And when people say, well, what does that mean? What ends up happening is all of a sudden people grow up and they engage in a relationship, right? Now they're cohabiting, right? And then the other person in that relationship might want a house, right? And so the other person wanted to give that person, they work really hard. But because of the fear of the outside thing, the person they love and the house they love, they might not be able to actually quit that job. Or in our case as recruiters, quit that client, right? And I mean, so the thing about everything I know about working in my entire life as it relates to me as a recruiter and having clients and candidates and going through their walks of life, there's always an element of fear. It's like, well, this is the job I have and I can't quit it because if this happens and that happens. And so I've been a recruiter. Like, I got a guy a job as a sheep herder when I was 14, and I got into Bitcoin. It found me in 2013 when it was a little over $200. And so the thing about crypto, it's changed a lot of things for a lot of people. And without getting into the ideology of what crypto is going to do, both David and I, we saw the empowerment of crypto and the truth and the freedom that crypto and blockchain and all that results from it is going to make. And we made a conscious decision that we had to repurpose our entire firm to the area of cryptocurrency, blockchain, NFTs, anything in that community. And it's really like, I'm going to use an American axiom, the field of dreams, where Kevin Costner, he plows his field and he builds a baseball stadium. If you build it, they will come. As corny as that sounds, that's a truism for where we are right now. So, the response has been overwhelming, right? People have called, hey, can you help me get a job? People have called, say, hey, we need some people, and that's great. I spoke to one person who was looking for a job who said that he has already hooked up with 3 people that spoke last week. And that's great. And that's exactly what it was, because it goes back to the thing that makes crypto, right, so different. Blockchain so different is, as opposed to being scarcity and fear, there's abundance, where the value proposition could be, you could come to work for me, and your labor and your heart and your spirit efforts are going to be rewarded by this token or this offering that in 5 years will be worth 1,000 times more. And then you can actually spread that. So as a result, the people that are making the rules today, the old world ideology is going to be on the bottom, and people like us, we're going to actually be on the top from the stance of humanity. I really like blockchain and NFTs, and it goes with my mission on where I am in my life in my 50s about empowerment, empowering women and minorities and marginalized people, because everybody actually has a voice. So anyhow, that's great. I'm just going to get some housekeeping out of the way. So if you're interested in, and you want some help getting a job, and you want to be repurposed in the blockchain space, on your silo, you know where to go. You can actually send me an email. You can find me on LinkedIn. Okay, on Twitter, I'm the BTC Recruiter. At the BTC Recruiter. You guys can find me on LinkedIn. You can send me a message. You can send me an email, DavidJ, DAVIDJ at blockchainrecruiters.net. Don't forget the net. You got to have the net, or you're not going to be caught in my net. All right. So, and if you want to, if you actually have a blockchain project and you need help sourcing people, we can discuss that. So anyhow, I think I've spoken entirely too long. As a matter of fact, the voices in my head are telling me to be quiet. So thank you very much, and I'm grateful. Thank you, Zach.
I was on mute. So thank you very much, David. That was a fantastic introduction. And to that note, these events would not be possible unless we had the opportunity to work with some incredible companies throughout this space. Our sponsor of today's event is The Sandbox, a metaverse that is changing the way gaming is being done, and it's revolutionizing the industry. We are super grateful to have the CEO of The Sandbox, Arthur Madrid, join us here for some time to give us all a background in terms of how he got involved in this space and what The Sandbox is all about. Arthur, pleased to meet you. How are you doing?
Hey, Zach, how are you?
I'm great. It's good to have you here, man. It's good to see you.
Yeah, it's good. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I would really love to start just by asking you the question, how did you get involved in the blockchain NFT space?
So basically, we've been involved in China in one of my trip in 2018. There was a gaming conference where they created a sub-conference, like besides to talk about NFTs, talk about smart contract, and we began developing ERC 1155, which is one of the we were co-developers of ERC 1155 with Horizon Game and Engine. So I think it was the first time we really think about how to give digital ownership and multiple copies of those assets to creators. So Sandbox is a user-generated content platform, and we always thought about how to decentralize the way people could trade their assets.
That's fantastic. Can you give us a small insight in terms of what the Sandbox is currently doing right now? What are you trying to work on?
So yeah, we are building a blockchain metaverse where anyone can buy lands and create their own digital space and host people. We believe on a new immersive and social experience that is enabling a new way to interact, a new way to build, a new way to trade, a new way to own, a new way to govern. So basically, we do believe decentralization and Web 3.0 can definitely change the way people play. And this is what we're working every day on.
That's fantastic. In your own opinion as a CEO, how do you feel that the Sandbox is impacting the industry right now?
I really feel like we are building utilities and interoperability on the NFT worlds. Like if you look like NFTs, they'll sometimes perceive that just one things like scarcity and art, like basically like buying some assets that end up being more expensive by the after a couple of weeks, like the apes. So what we do is like we take those NFTs and we bring them into the game. So like they become playable, and that's something very different because the content is produced outside the platform, and then like by anyone, it's traded by anyone. The culture that those NFTs and art and content are carrying is made by creators completely outside the platform, but then we put it on the platform. They're all interoperable, and we enable people to play with it, and that's also enhance new values. So it's the case with Cybercon, with the apes, Tools of Rocks. We have over like 50 NFT collection that are basically playable now into the Sandbox metaverse.
That's exciting. That's fantastic. And I would really love to ask you, what does the metaverse mean to you as an individual?
In my opinion, like it's all about the immersion and the experience. Like it's just like moving to a certain way we experience digital product to something that is more powerful. Like it's basically like it's gonna be skill based, gonna be like avatar centric, where like you build a new kind of identity and like and all those multiplayer experience that you knew before are in the metaverse are just like being revealed in a new way. It could be like shopping or creating or like architectures or like and that's definitely create a new kind of digital job. So like for me, the metaverse is a new kind of immersive social experience that brings also a new way to work.
I'm really happy that you mentioned that because I'm aware that the Sandbox is constantly hiring, right? How do you feel that what the Sandbox is actually doing and what other businesses within the NFT space are impacting the job market? And so like, how is it changing the job market right now?
So I think like this industry, it's really the beginning. Even if you could feel the last 2-3 months, we are at the beginning of what we could feel as a massive adoption. So we'll bring like everything related to the accessibility of the concept and the paradigm we are developing. So like most of our challenge for the next years is related to working on to make those technology more accessible, but keeping the truth about it. You know, like it's always like the discussion about like if the idea is to move back to like what makes crypto and NFTs and blockchain secure, safe, and bring such a level of beliefs, it's because it's crypto and because it's not that accessible. You know, and that makes people say, okay, as soon as I open a wallet, I understand it's secure because it's quite. It carries experience, the UI, the UX, the flows that end up having a wallet for a person carries the main and the core purpose of this technology. So yeah, we are hiring a lot of people because we believe most people are coming to this technology and then definitely needs a stronger level of development, innovation, support, and understanding.
Fantastic. And on that note, the final question I'm going to ask you is, what advice could you give to anyone who's interested in getting involved in this space?
I do think that like blockchain, crypto, and in our case, metaverse are just an expansion of what you saw. And like I guess like most of your audience, they are either new or have been working for a company for a while. And I think it's pretty easy to see the opportunities, you know, and see like, for example, for us, it's going to be like how we are disrupting gaming. Like if you look at gaming as it is, and if you compare how play to earn can disrupt gaming, you say, oh, great, I've been doing gaming for 20 years, or I just want to do gaming. Let's do blockchain gaming. It's having much more challenge, much more interest, that I think any other gaming company right now. So, and I think I can tell you more about like other industries, but for gaming, I think there is, like, if you look at premium gaming or freemium gaming, like mobile gaming, like the way it's done, the way it's built, I mean, it's very, very profitable industry. But in terms of challenge, I think it's incomparable with like how blockchain gaming can reach something about interoperability and a new kind of experience. So yeah, definitely on many level, developers, game design, UI, UX, yeah, like or any architect, like all this for blockchain gaming is just a new way to rethink how games are played, how players are building their profile, like and then how business models are built, completely different than what gaming is actually made now.
That's fantastic. That was very insightful. I really appreciate you joining us today. Is there any final words that you would like to say before you go?
No, I'm again like super excited, very lucky. I think Sandbox is a fantastic success and excited to welcome anyone that want to join the company. Thank you, Zack.
For sure. And if anybody would really like to get in touch with Alpha or the Sandbox, the links are in the description of the video. Enjoy the rest of your day, Alpha. Thank you so much for joining us. Take care. That was a great start to the show. Fantastic. Up next, we've got Jeremy Della Rosa, who is the CEO of Leyline. Hello, Jeremy. How are you today?
Hi, Zach. I'm doing well. Thanks. How about yourself?
I'm very well, man. It's good to see you again. It's always a pleasure. Can you kindly give our audience the background into Leyline and what it is that you guys do?
Yeah, sure. We're an NFT project and ecosystem focused on social impact and really incentivizing and gamifying doing good in the real world. So part of the ecosystem that we've built out includes this proof of good protocol, where essentially we're connecting different charitable organizations, social impact organization, academic institution to validate that a donation or a volunteer effort has taken place, and we build a reward system and good points on top of that. So yeah, we're focused on gamifying good and eradicating poverty is kind of the core mission.
That's fantastic. And there is going to be an ongoing theme throughout the event today of people having that as a charity mindset. And I'm really happy that you kicked us off with that great introduction, Jeremy. Can you kindly tell everyone, how did you yourself get involved in the blockchain and NFT space?
Well, yeah, I've been in the tech sector for about 20 years now. I spent the last 10 years over at Blizzard Entertainment, where I was shipping some pretty major games like Overwatch, Hearthstone, Diablo 3, StarCraft 2. And, you know, one of the deepest concerns I had was whether or not that this gaming industry, with this immense amount of engagement and revenue flowing in, was actually having this positive impact on society. And in my eyes, I'm just deeply concerned about the trends that we're currently facing. You know, if we're trying to tackle extreme inequality and the climate crisis, you know, we've got to leverage all the tools we have available and harness a lot of this potential energy that humanity has. So to me, I saw Web3 and crypto as this pathway for decentralizing those power systems, as well as creating economic abundance for everybody across the planet. And to me, I think, you know, there's a potential missed opportunity here if we're not tying these new types of economies directly into positive outcomes in the physical world. So just understanding the opportunity space and what we could do with the power of gaming and tech really inspired me to step out and try and build something.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. And on that note, can you tell me, how do you feel that the metaverse and NFTs has changed your life personally?
Well, it's obviously, you know, turned me into an entrepreneur. So that's a pretty radical change in my life for sure. But I think, you know, it's instilled a lot of hope in me. You know, I've been deeply concerned about like global trends and how our systems are unfortunately not very sustainable, particularly when it comes to our economic and kind of national governmental systems. And I think, this seeing this potential for a decentralized form of governance from the micro communities up to the macro communities, and entire economies centered around these communities to empower them towards a particular cause or mission, has really shown me that we could really solve a lot of these problems. I think some of these legacy models that we've been stuck with are struggling to deal with these kind of global crises that we're facing. And I think now more than ever, I see the amount of entrepreneurs coming into the space and solving these broader problems. And I believe that we're going to be able to tackle it. So I'm just full of hope and very inspired being in this space.
As you should be, man. How do you feel that the NFT market specifically has impacted the job market?
Yeah, there's a number of ways. I think they're certainly creating a lot more financial freedom. And I think that unlocks a lot of mobility. So, I think NFTs have created this brand new way of fundraising for projects. So it's much easier to become an entrepreneur, raise capital from a community versus a smaller set of specific venture capitalists or investors. So I think you're probably going to see this explosion, not just in entrepreneurs, but even individual creators and artists and musicians. So I think you're going to see an incredible propagation of art and music and gaming and just totally radical new projects that are kind of pushing the envelope in innovation. So I think NFTs as a vehicle for fundraising tied to identity and community is extremely powerful. So that part's like very, very interesting. And I think what happens is that's actually creating disruption in like the physical world job space or kind of traditional companies where people are much more mobile. They can basically launch a company pretty much from anywhere as long as they have like a laptop and internet. So I think it's actually going to create a lot of competition, which is good. And I think it's going to drive up wages across the board. So I think quite a bit of positive impact for individuals for sure.
Absolutely, I agree with you, man. And to end our fantastic conversation that we just had, I would love to ask you, what advice could you give to anyone who's interested in getting involved in this industry?
Yeah, I mean, education and being and like learning, I think is super critical. The space moves incredibly fast. It's incredibly complex. So there's actually many different verticals to study, whether it's like NFT collectibles or NFT art, or if it's DeFi and coins, or if it's play to earn gaming. All of these different verticals have different communities and behaviors and cultures and models. So I think doing a deep dive and getting to understand how this stuff works is critical. And one of the easiest ways to do it is just join some of those communities, whether they're on Telegram or Discord, and observe and listen in. And you can even ask questions and say, hey, I'm new here, I'd like to learn. I think people in this space are very heavily invested in helping to onboard new people because they know that it's a very difficult journey and difficult learning curve, but it's also in their best interest. There's the more people in their community, the more the value of their tokens rises. So it's really a win-win ecosystem. So I think don't be afraid to come into a community and ask for help. I think you're going to get a lot of support. And it's a perfect pathway to get started.
That's fantastic, man. I really appreciate you joining us today. If anybody would like to get in contact with Jeremy, there is a link to all of his social media platforms in the description of the video below. Jeremy, enjoy the rest of your day. Appreciate you joining us.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. On the theme that we have for doing good, up next we have a person who's involved in the company by that name exactly, doing good. Hi, so nice to see you, Wendy. So how are you doing today?
Good, Zach. Thank you so much. How about you?
I'm very well. I always really like speaking to you because every time I do, you have a really funky, different background, right? And I love it. It's all about doing good. Can you kindly give everyone the background on what doing good are and what they're achieving right now?
Yeah, you bet. So first of all, we're pre-launch. So
yeah,
we're pre-launch by a handful of days. So we're racing towards our first soft opening. And Doing Good is an NFT ecosystem that's focused on inspiring creativity, human connection, and positive impact. So that's the kind of environment we play in. And what that means is that with every NFT purchase on Doing Good, with each and every NFT purchase on Doing Good, a donation is sent to a participating nonprofit. And what we're trying to do is some of the similar things that Jeremy talked about, which is to normalize giving and make it an everyday thing to share, and to recognize that we're all connected. And this is a way to sort of codify and make stronger and visible those connections.
That's fantastic. Can you kindly tell us, so how did you yourself get involved in this whole NFT space?
Yeah, so when David was doing his opening, I thought, oh, wow, he's given me a platform to talk about something I don't even think I spoke to you about, Zach. So I'm not one of the founders of the company, but I'm one of the people who is bringing the vision of doing good to life. And I'm doing that from the perspective of running the team that recruits the nonprofits into the doing good ecosystem. And what that means also is helping increase the adoption of crypto and the knowledge about blockchain and NFTs to an audience that's fairly traditional. And that's, of course, where I found myself for decades. My entire career has been working for what we used to call blue chip companies, Fortune 500s, selling media and advertising. And in the last 15 years, working with top teams in these organizations to improve leadership development and performance and organizational change. And I think what David said in his opening resonated for me in a way that I didn't plan on discussing today, but it was, one can decide whether or not I had a successful career, but it was in no small part driven by fear. And it was driven by fear of success, fear of failure, fear of standing out too much, fear of not standing out enough, fear of, everything. But fear does drive a lot of performance. And you might look at my CV and say, oh, yeah, I can see lots of performance in there. And what you can't see in there is that many of those decisions were made defensively. This sort of big business career, kind of the most recent chapter, came to an end with the first day of COVID, in essence, 28 February 2020. And I left that last big business and decided that as I have many people, like, I just got to figure this out a little bit better. And I decided to start volunteering for 12, 15 projects. And I did that for 5 or 6 months. And the one I found most compelling, some of them were in traditional areas, others were in brand new areas, was working with one of my now founders, Manu Alzuru. And it was his vision and his understanding. He spoke about blockchain and the ethos of crypto, and as Arthur said, the truth about the best of it before it was really there to be codified into business. And I just decided that all the other projects I was going to peel away, and I was going to work with this guy, doing whatever I could do, lend my professional and managerial expertise to making whatever he said that day come to life. And about 11 months ago, what he said one day was, we are going to be doing good with every single transaction on both ends of the transaction with NFTs in the blockchain using crypto.
That's beautiful. I really appreciate you sharing that, for sure. Could you give us some advice to the audience who could be interested in getting involved in the NFT space, but they're still treading the waters right now? What would you say to them? Sure.
So in some respects, the stakes have never been lower to leave a career, because there is the great resignation going on, and there's almost an acceptance that people are going to be looking into new jobs. So the advice is to try something. Kind of as Jeremy said, like, go into a Telegram group, go into a Discord group, take a micro course, spend some time on some of the NFT marketplaces, and spend some time on the metaverse. Buy a little tiny piece of crypto and just get a feel for the vibe. The one of the things that's really intriguing is when you do enter any place and you say, I'm new here, this is kind of what I do. Could there be a place for me? Is there anything I can learn from you? People are incredibly generous with their learning. So really the thing is just to take these mini steps, volunteer someplace like I did, maybe, It's a pretty common thing in our environment that volunteers can sort of get a vibe on the place. And then the people who work there can also get a vibe on you and decide like, yeah, I love what you're doing. I love the way you do it. Let's work together.
That was fantastic. Thank you so much. Is there any other information that you would like to share before we end our lovely conversation today?
That's a very, very generous question to ask. It's very kind. I think, Zach, the thing I would put out there is, as a non-founder, as somebody who's very happy to help other people's visions come to life and make them real, I'd say one of the things for someone like me who comes from a more traditional and institutional background is that both the way I work and the how I work has fundamentally changed working with doing good and in the NFT and blockchain environment. That there's I think I had that one sentence that Arthur said, that to keep the truth about it, the DNA is a very cool place to work. One of the things I was afraid of was being too generous, too open, too mentoring in the old world. And here, all that stuff has a natural home and is completely welcome.
That was beautiful. Thank you so much for your time today, so Wendy. And if anybody would like to get in contact with yourself or with Doing Good Company, the links are in the description below. Enjoy the rest of your day, Wendy. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Up next, we have the founder of the first ever NFT marketplace out of MENA. And this is going to be an interesting one for you guys. Hi, Nabil. Thanks for joining. How are you doing?
Hi, Zach. How are you? I'm doing well. I'm very happy and excited to be here, part of this amazing lineup. I've been listening, and oh my God, this is so cool.
It really is, man. I really appreciate you saying that. Can you give everyone the background in terms of how you got involved within the NFT space?
Yes, definitely. It started, we had a small platform called Arabic Indie where we were supporting independent artists. This started during the pandemic, something I was doing on the side. We have a startup studio or a small venture builder. We're doing tech stuff, but I had so many friends who are independent artists who suffered during the pandemic. No concerts, no events, no gigs, and there was no income. So we started something called Arabic Indie, where we will actually simply just selling merchandise for artists, hoping that they would make money out of it. And our motto was that majority of the profit goes to the artist themselves. Then we started knowing more about NFTs and reading and listening, and we were thinking of ways of how can we get those artists to create their NFTs and make money. And then we started to read more and find out that there is no marketplace in the region for NFTs. And this is where we decided, you know what, let's build it. And we started Nifty Souk.
That's amazing. On that note, can you tell the audience what exactly the Nifty Souk is and how they get involved?
Yes, definitely. Nifty Souk is an NFT marketplace, an inclusive NFT marketplace with a focus on arts at the moment. It's a cross-blockchain platform. We've just launched last week on Ethereum so far, and we're adding the other blockchains now. Tezos is coming up next, hopefully within the next couple of weeks. Our main target out of Nifty Souk is to give the economic control back to the hands of the creators, not into platforms. We want them to own their art, make the money out of it, get known. We want people to get paid for their work and their ideas. This is what we're trying to do.
Fantastic, man. And can you kindly tell us, how do you feel that the NFT market is changing the job market as a whole?
Of course, it's creating new jobs. People are learning new technologies to get into this. So there is the dev side, there is the business development side. There is something that happened recently this week. And I said, I have to mention this in the event. An engineer that I know who has a hobby for photography, but never thought that he would go and become a photographer because he was making money from being an engineer. And he knows that it's so difficult to get known in the field and get contracts or monetize from it. But then when he started reading and knowing about NFTs, seeing us posting about Nifty Souk and talking about it, we had a conversation. And I was shocked that he actually resigned, left his job, and now he's working on his photography, creating NFTs and selling them. So this also is a new way for people to get into NFTs and jobs in NFTs. It's creating a totally different universe where everything is possible.
It's creating a metaverse, isn't it?
It's creating the metaverse, yes. And the
this
metaverse
is it.
itself is going to have like, oh my God, the amount of jobs that the metaverse is going to provide.
So speaking about the metaverse, what does it mean to you as a founder and CEO of an NFT company? What is the metaverse to you?
Now, I'm going to be totally honest here. I still see that there is a lot of pros for the metaverse, but there are cons as well. I'm still waiting to see how this is going to turn out. I don't want us to be, there was an old movie, I totally forgot its name, where people were, that was maybe in the 90s or early 2000s. People were actually living in the metaverse. So the movie is about people who are shopping, going to clubs, partying, etc., etc. And then suddenly the guy wakes up, leaves the house, and it's all destroyed. And Joshua says it's gamer. I think maybe it's gamer.
Yeah.
I totally forgot. So I don't want us to be in that space, but I still see there is a lot of potential, especially for artists, especially let's say digital artists. They had to go backwards with their art and print it for them to be able to show it off and sell it, although they're digital artists. Now with NFTs, they don't have to do that. They can show it digitally, sell it digitally, monetize from it, and that incentivizes them to actually give more and produce more. So I'm waiting on to see what's going to happen. I'm betting on the good side of the metaverse, and we're trying to be part of that good side of the metaverse.
That was a fantastic introduction. I really appreciate that today, Nabil. If anybody would like to get in contact, please click on the links in the description below to speak to Nabil directly and to learn more about his company. Enjoy the rest of your day, Nabil. Thanks for joining, man. Zack. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Up next, we have got a senior NFT producer who has a very interesting walk into the NFT space. His name is Ian, and he's, as I said, a senior NFT producer for Curio Digital, Curio NFT. Hey, Ian, thanks for joining. How you doing?
I'm good, brother. How are you?
I'm very good, man. It's good to see your face again. Can you kindly tell everyone, how did you get involved in NFTs? Because I know it's an interesting story.
Yeah, so I have a traditional legacy media background. I worked in news and then entered into the entertainment space and was a development executive at a major media network, and then ran a small production company with a first look deal at Sony Pictures TV, and developed all different types of television, digital media, documentary film, etc., and had been interested in the crypto space in end of 2016, early 2017. Didn't even really know what I was interested in, but thought it was kind of a unique way to make money. That was the way that I was brought into it. And then through the rabbit hole, got very, very interested in the sort of crypto asset space. And then over the past year and a half, have been very, very interested in not only the crypto asset space, but also the NFT space, and then sort of monkey barred from traditional media to the NFT space. And I'm now working at Curio Digital, helping traditional IP holders create collections for drops.
So on that note, can you go into a little bit more detail in terms of what you do on a day-to-day at Curio Digital? Like, what are you currently working on?
We're working on a lot of stuff. We currently just dropped a collection in partnership with Topps for Mars Attacks IP, the original trading cards, which is really cool. I'd encourage people to go check it out. It's about halfway sold out, so get yours while you can. So we work with traditional IP holders, comic books, music, people that own libraries for media, and help kind of give them entree into the NFT space traditionally. And we're also working on all different types of methodologies to create NFTs that have a gamification element so that people can purchase them as NFTs, follow a story, solve a mystery, etc. We've partnered with Wolf Entertainment as well, and we're doing something with them in that space. And so my day-to-day is oddly not dissimilar from working in traditional media, in that I acted as sort of a conduit or a shepherd for producers, writers, directors, to help them navigate through the various verticals of a large media company, to create media. Now I'm doing it in the NFT space, but it's far more interesting and dynamic, and I find it much more fulfilling. But that's what I do on a day-to-day basis, is just kind of get these collections together. And in an ever-changing landscape, it's so much more fun and so much more challenging. And yeah, it's when you work in an industry for 20 years, you kind of know all the tricks. It was like I knew about 95% of the stuff, and 5% I can kind of figure out. And now I know about 5% of the stuff, and I'm figuring out about 95%. So I want to get that ratio up. But it's been great. Yeah, it's a wonderful experience thus far.
That's awesome, man. Can you tell us, how do you feel that Curio NFT is impacting the NFT industry?
Sure. Well, Curio has a very unique approach to the way that we're creating collections, in the sense that we're working with traditional legacy media holders, but we're also trying to attract crypto natives, those new to the NFT space, and also people that are sort of fans of fandom. So we're trying to kind of thread the needle and hit that sort of middle ground. So if you're someone who's a crypto native and you're interested, you can come to our platform, pay an ETH, purchase NFTs with your MetaMask wallet. If you're someone who's not as familiar, you can have us act as custodians for that and just purchase things and keep it on platform. And if you're someone who's sort of a fan of fandom, we have all different types of media that people can be attracted to come and purchase those NFTs, and there's a secondary marketplace available as well. So we're trying to kind of approach it to capture a broad audience, but make it a good experience for people regardless of their level of crypto experience.
That's fantastic, man. And because of the fact that you yourself have come from a traditional market, how do you feel that NFTs is impacting the job market as a whole?
There's been some great answers thus far, so I'll try my best to match them. But I mean, I think that there is I think there's a lure for people to come into the NFT space. There's a bit of a brain drain from other industries. I myself kind of left traditional media to come work in this space because I'm very interested in it. So I think it's changing the industry and changing the marketplace, and a lot of people are very interested, and a lot of people are coming to this industry and looking to work in it. But I also think that it's changing the way that we interact socially, through commerce, point of sale, you name it. And so I think that we're at the very beginning or inflection point of the bottom of this S curve, and eventually everything will be an NFT. And you won't necessarily know it the same way that you don't know that you're using Linux on your cell phone. NFTs will essentially swallow everything because it's a more efficient, immutable form of interaction, commerce, and truth. And so I think that it's just an incredible technology, and it's like the thing I've been waiting for my whole life. I've always found myself frustrated with antiquated legacy systems that don't work and don't benefit the people that utilize them. I think blockchain solves those problems for us as a race, as a human race, really. So it's a bigger question, kind of a broad answer, but
that wasn't broad at all. That was intense, man.
Take,
I love that. No, that was beautiful. Thank you. And on that note, I'm going to ask you then, what advice could you give to anyone who's interested in getting involved in the NFT space, apart from coming to work for Curio NFT?
Yeah, sure. The thing that I did is I just reached out to people. I coming from traditional media, like networking is a big deal. And so you kind of will just reach out and try to talk to anyone. And the thing that I realized when I would reach out to, people that are fairly well known in the crypto space, is they would respond and take time to like have a call with me and kind of strategize with me about like, well, how could you take your experience and port that into sort of a job in the blockchain space or the NFT space? And so I would encourage people to utilize LinkedIn and other social media platforms to just reach out to people, because it is a very inclusive community. I find you don't let Twitter sway you. People are very open to, I think it was Wendy who mentioned, like, include other people, educate other people, bring them into the fold, and try to help them. And so I would just encourage people to get educated, watch YouTube videos, watch documentaries, read articles, understand the space, and then enter into it, and then see if some people can help you navigate how you can transpose your skills from one industry to the next.
That was awesome, man. I really appreciate you joining us today, Ian. Thank you so much. If anyone would like to get in touch with Ian, you can go to the link in the description below to go to his profile for LinkedIn, not Twitter, shout out to Jack Dorsey, or go to CurioNFT.com. Cheers, man. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you, Zack. Bye.
Up next, we have, in his own words, a French frog, Julien Paredes, who is a Metaverse Partnerships Manager for Boson Protocol, along with a number of other things. Hey, Julien, thanks for joining us today, my man. How are you doing?
Hello, Zach, ladies and gentlemen. Hello, happy to be here. I think that you have to open my, that video. That's cool.
There's your video. Good to see you, man. I love the afro.
I don't know where is my head cutter. Maybe he's locked somewhere. I don't know.
Can you kindly tell everyone, Julien, how did you get involved in blockchain, metaverse, and the NFT space?
With pleasure. So I will try to be short. So I was born in Egypt. My mother comes from Mali, father comes half French, half Spanish. And I travel a lot, study a lot in different countries, such as Venezuela, Kenya, Scotland, etc. And so I really enjoy how people can make me a more a stronger people and stronger person. And I really enjoy how people can I interact with them and how basically I can learn. And so it developed me a huge love for how I can empower civilian society. And so for the last 12 years, I used to work for a French NGO in charity business. So in West Africa, mostly Mali, Burkina Faso, Kenya, Guinea, things like that. And so I was training them, their team, and also building a project with community there. And I was always thinking about, okay, that's a thing, but how can we also empower economic the life of the people in terms of financial life, economic life? Okay, giving the power to people, how they can also build. I didn't know at the time that now we are speaking about that. We are speaking about DAO, decentralized autonomous organization. I wasn't thinking about that, but that was what brought me to blockchain.
That's fantastic. And can you kindly tell everyone, what are you currently trying to work on at Boson Protocol?
Yes. So it's the perfect time because tomorrow we are launching what we are calling portal. So basically, Boson goal is to enable a decentralized commerce ecosystem to disrupt, demonopolize, and democratize commerce. And so with that, we automate digital to physical redemption using NFTs encoded with game theory. And so our first step for how we want to showcase it will be tomorrow on the portal in Decentraland. So we'll have we had the luck to work with top digital partners such as Ouroboros, Metaverse, and I think I can hype here a little bit. The Boson and Metaverse hoodie is really lit. So tomorrow
I'll get one.
We'll have an event tomorrow. So that's why we are focusing at Boson. So mostly to build a decentralized open source commerce stack. And so there I'm working on the partnership team.
So yourself and a number of other people have talked about the metaverse today, including Decentraland. In your own words, Julien, can you express to anyone in the audience who doesn't know what a metaverse is, right? So can you explain what is the metaverse?
I'll try. It's really difficult because it's for some people it's a young word. I love science fiction, sci-fi. So I love Neil Stephenson. I wrote his book Snow Crash, etc. So I was really passionate about all that. But for me, I'm also old gamer, 38 years old. Maybe the afro make me younger, but yeah. And so I started with gaming things. So for me, it's quite easy to jump in because for me it's like a game. But if we take the world, so we have meta, which for me is like beyond, and we have verse, so like universe. So for me, a metaverse is something beyond the universe, beyond the physical realm, and so maybe something it is digitally, virtually, and a place where we can find ourselves and interact with people, and also build many kind of things, economy, governance, entertainment. We can only, I can say only your creativity is your limit. And that's what I like here.
That was fantastic, man. And as Julian said at the beginning of his introduction today, he loves to network. So if anyone would like to get in touch with this young man, I call you young because the afro does keep you young, just click on the links in the description below. I appreciate you joining today. Thank you so much, Julian, and I'll speak to you soon, all right?
My pleasure. If I can hand with something, it reminds us today we had someone at Boson who left the company, and he said something. I will just quote him. If you love what you do, then you will never work a day in your life. I already heard that before, but it resonates here, and it's really what you feel when you work in this space. So thank you, Zack, for having me, and have a good day and good night. Bye-bye.
That was a great way to end it, man. I really appreciate you sharing that saying because I live by that every single day. So thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Cool. Really good show so far. I hope everyone is enjoying it. I can see that the comments on the YouTube chat are absolutely blowing up. I got a text from David James about 10 minutes in to say he's had 52 new connections via LinkedIn, which is exactly what we want. Connect, get the conversation going, and continue to enjoy this fantastic show. Up next, we have the founder of NFT Creator Tools and Consultancy. Her name is Astrid Pillar. Hello, Astrid. Thank you so much for joining. How are you doing today?
Hi there. Hey, Zach. How are you doing?
I'm great. It's really good to see you. I love that background. You're in the metaverse.
Oh, yes. I am full in. I had to
Fantastic.
change it for this show, of course.
I appreciate that so much. Could you kindly give everyone the background in terms of how you, Astrid, got involved in the NFT space?
Yes, absolutely. So back in January, feels like a century ago, but it really wasn't that long ago. I was invited onto Clubhouse, and I started in the Bitcoin maxi rooms. I was really interested in what was going on there. And then that evolved very quickly into me hanging out every single day in the NFTs.tips rooms. That's a club on Clubhouse that, we were all learning together. We were just figuring things out. And I was fascinated. I don't think I spoke for the first 3 months. I was just listening. I had notebooks full of, notes and sticky notes everywhere. I was like, I have to remember this. I got to remember this. I had like 50 wallets on my cell phone. I mean, I was trying everything. So that's basically how I got into it. And then I realized I started volunteering with NFTs tips. So hats off to what Wendy said. I completely agree. I started volunteering. I said, I'm a good writer. Would you like help with editing the website? I can help with whatever my real world, experience was. I tried to volunteer with that and then learn at the same time. So that's really how I got involved.
Amazing. No, that's fantastic. And can you kindly tell everyone what is NFT Creator Tools and what it is that you do?
Yes. So my experience was heavily with helping out, help people understand. And like, for example, I now have the latest project that I did was helping Aluna of Aluna George. She is an electronic music artist, and that'll just give you like the big basics of what I do. She had a lot of fans that really didn't understand how to come into the metaverse. She was participating in the 3-day Metaverse Festival, which was in Decentraland with Deadmau5, Blau, Paris Hilton. It was a huge festival. And, fans wanted to come in. She was dropping a brand new NFT, which was a wearable. I'm actually wearing them in the picture behind me, if you can see that. Those are headphones. And that was also combined with a high quality, high resolution headphone wearable in a glass museum case. That was made by Arn Joe. It was a fabulous piece on Rarible. So, helping people understand how to purchase the NFT, how to come into the metaverse, what's a MetaMask wallet, how to integrate my MetaMask with Decentraland, and how to find the wearable that I was just airdropped. What do I do? How do I do this? We were doing tours in the metaverse and things like that. And what started as tours, really kind of full-fledged because of all the connections I was making, it turned into full-fledged NFT metaverse consulting, basically. So I can help with any question you have, feel free to ask, and I can probably help you.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. And can you kindly tell us, how is your business impacting the NFT space? You kind of already did, but go into a lot more detail, because it's important that people can have consultants to assist them through all the NFT projects that they're doing.
Yes. So there's a number of different ways that we're, basically helping people enter the space. So during NFT.NYC, for example, I helped Searchlight, which is a division of NFTs Tips. They're a curating group, and we had virtual tours going on in all different languages. So people from, let's say, Germany, India, France, we had people come in and they wanted to understand a little bit. So I can help with kind of transitioning there. Our company we were just granted a grant, which I'm super honored and humbled by. It was passed right away. It was a Decentraland grant to help onboard, celebrities, brands, and even students. I'm really passionate about helping students in the space. So for example, there was a student who contacted me from Parsons School of Design. We had an interview, and I really hope she reaches back out to me, because I know that she'll just love the space. And I was trying to get her in touch with Bobby Hundreds, but that was he was too busy. So understanding the connection between the creator space. Her thesis was actually on the connection between the metaverse and NFTs and streetwear. So that was a perfect combination. So, helping brands understand how even to build a community in the metaverse, that's we can help with that. I hope that answers your question.
No, that was absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much. And what I would really love to ask you would be, Astrid, what advice could you give to yourself at the beginning of the year, the first day that you're about to walk into that room for Clubhouse, right? And you're about to sit there for 3 months and not ask any questions. What advice could you give yourself at the very beginning of your journey into the NFT space?
Absolutely. So the advice that I would give myself would be speak up, because I had so many questions, and I'm a reserved person by nature. I want to give value to people. So asking all these what I thought were silly questions were really not silly questions. And once you come into the space, I think Wendy also mentioned, people are so friendly. Come into the space. We have 101 rooms every morning. And these are people that, come in and they are, don't be afraid to ask questions, basically. And you can actually learn a lot just by asking. And people, if you DM someone on, somebody said something about Twitter. I absolutely believe that if you come into, there's a little bit of a transition going on from Clubhouse to Twitter Spaces. There's a lot of group on Twitter Spaces as well. And if you're a woman, for example, there are a lot of, there's NFT Girls, which is one group there I can think of. There's, and then there's a lot of projects where you can go into the Discord and you've got just a community of women around you, like World of Women or Fame Ladies or Boss Ladies. We've got so many great projects going on that, you can kind of find yourself surrounded with like-minded people. So as a long answer shortened down to just go for it and get in there and just start listening, and then don't be afraid to ask questions.
That was fantastic, Astrid. I really appreciate you joining today. If anyone in the audience would like, or even any of our speakers, right? If anybody would like some consultancy support from Astrid and her team at NFT Creator Tours, there's a link to her profile in the description of the video today. Enjoy the rest of your day, Astrid. It's been nice talking to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Zach. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care. Up next, we've got Drew Valek, the founder of NFT Labs. Hey, Drew, thanks so much for joining. How are you doing, man?
Oh, fantastic. Thanks, Zach. How about yourself?
I'm great. I noticed that you gave a live speech at the beginning of the week. So how did that go?
It was good. It was a live event in Atlanta, and it was my first time public speaking. This being, second or third, so it's been good. Enjoyed it.
It's awesome that you're getting yourself out there. Can you kindly tell everyone what is NFT Labs and what it is that you guys do?
Yeah, so essentially, we are NFT Labs. It's a company I founded a couple months ago, and essentially we work with NFT artists and digital artists who create individual assets and collections, really in any other NFT related projects for brands, athletes, individuals. And right now we're primarily working within the digital art space. We'll kind of be transitioning to do more and more in other industries next year in 2022.
That's very interesting, man. And can you tell everyone, how did you yourself get involved in the blockchain space?
Sure. Yeah. So it was, I guess I would say it was pre-COVID era, for as long as it now, the way that it now seems. But yeah, I was living in San Francisco with a couple of roommates, and they were heavily involved in the space and just kind of pulled me into it, over time. And I really just kind of, dove deeper and deeper into it as time went on. And yeah, earlier this year, I was working with a company doing some stuff with Bitcoin infrastructure, and kind of along the way, just fell in love with NFTs, and here we are.
That's amazing, man. And can you tell us at NFT Labs, what projects are you guys currently working on right now?
Yeah, so definitely. So we, kind of started the company just because we saw a lot of opportunities to really help brands, implement NFTs within different industries. And so, we kind of work with different brands and, like I said, individuals to kind of, tap into their communities or into different marketing aspects to create value on those brands. So.
It's very interesting. So on that note then, Drew, how is NFT Labs impacting the NFT space?
Yeah, so I guess whenever first launching a project in this space, there's a lot of stuff to consider. Just looking at something in the art space, you really have to navigate the creation of the assets, what the concept of the market's going to positively respond to. You really have to consider how it's going to be announced and unveiled. You need to have a solid marketing plan and blueprint kind of laid out to, attack the different mediums and really get the word out. Most important thing here, obviously, is community building, making sure that a community is properly managed and engaged to really maintain the long-term value of an asset over time. I think for a NFT project to be one that's successful, it has to be really in a system that makes it a viable long term, right? And so I guess if you look at like something like the Bored Ape Yacht Club, they've that was a project that was originally listed for like a few $100 whenever it was launched a while back, and now you had to drop a few $100,000 really to be a part of the club now, and that's really kind of comes down to them really creating a long-term value of all these assets, managing the community to the best extent. And so yeah, so we work with these brands, these individuals to kind of make sure that all this is looked after, and that they're able to launch a successful and a healthy NFT campaign.
That's fantastic, man. And could you tell me, how do you feel personally that the NFT market is impacting the job market as a whole?
Sure. Yeah. So I think right now a lot of people really see NFTs as art. They see it's made kind of the biggest splashes so far this year in the digital art world, right? But it really has so many more use cases across a lot of different industries. As a lot of the speakers today have already alluded to. So I think if we go back and look at an asset that everyone kind of knows today, the Mona Lisa. It's really not the raw materials like the paint or the canvas that makes it valuable, but it's the fact that it's an asset that represents something that's much larger than itself, right? And so similar with NFTs, they're not just pixels, but they're assets that are going to really represent something much larger than themselves, or are kind of in a system that gives it value and utility, but beyond what's seen by the eye. So yeah, so I think when you kind of consider that, NFTs can really be applied to a lot of different industries and solve a lot of pain points. Some of my favorites. So I think if you look at the music industry, just the way that if you're an up-and-coming artist, distributing, kind of an album or a song, is a flawed in a lot of ways, to where if you, are distributing, like I said, an album or song, you have to cut profits up with, a producer, a PR, manager, marketing, really can have money flying in all different places, right? And NFTs have the advantage of they really allow these artists to connect directly with their with the listeners, and kind of helps them see a larger cut of the earning potential, right? So I think there's a Canadian artist that launches his NFT. He launched his album as an NFT back in August, and he minted his album and sold all 1 million copies within 57 seconds, and that was obviously the fastest album.
Tory Lanez,
yeah,
Tory Lanez for sure. He sold it for $1, right? So every album was only $1, and he said to his fans that I'm gonna do this for you guys, my fans, right? And I promise you, this is going to increase in value, right? And he's from Brampton, Ontario. Thank you, Joshua, our speaker who's Canadian, who's up next as well. But the really funny thing about that, Drew, and I'm really happy that you mentioned that, right, is like a few weeks afterwards, the value of that rose from $1 to 50,000 just for that NFT, right? And that just shows you the power of NFTs for sure. How would people get in contact with you in NFT Labs?
Yeah, so it can be reaching out, usually LinkedIn's kind of the best way to get in touch, or, where it's the NFT Labs.design. There's different ways to get in contact with us there.
Cool. I have put all the links to your social medias in the description below. It's been an absolute delight speaking to you today again, Drew. I'll speak to you again soon, and enjoy the rest of your day, man. Appreciate you coming. Take care. Up next, we've got an OG, but this guy's not only an OG, he's been my moderator for the past few days that we've had these kind of events, always trying to help me out and stuff. And I really appreciate this guy so much. Joshua Donor from Tracer DAO, OG of CryptoPunks. Lovely to meet you, man. How you doing?
I'm great, Zach. And shout out to all of you who are on the stream, listening, taking your time. Good for you. You're in the right spot.
That's it. If you guys are enjoying the show so far, drop a couple of fire emojis in the chat room just so we can
get some vibes going, some GMs, get some GMs.
Good morning. We're all gonna make it, man. Josh, what is that behind you?
Yeah.
What are they?
Yeah. Hey, Zach. I am the first person, or one of the first people in the world to buy an NFT back in June and July of 2017. These are CryptoPunks. They were the first project, and they actually predated the ERC 721 standard, which is now currently the NFT standard on Ethereum. They predated OpenSea. And what Larva did was, they're Matt and John from Toronto. They created a smart contract that enabled market functionality. The ability to place a bid, the ability to place your CryptoPunk for sale, the ability to accept bid and transfer these assets between wallets. All the functionality needed to have a marketplace, many months before OpenSea existed. So a really awesome innovation.
So you bought your CryptoPunk back when? So how long ago?
June, July 2017. So 4 years ago.
And can you tell me the inspiring the reason as to why you decided to go ahead and buy that punk? Like, why did you do it?
At the time, I was having a few drinks, and I thought the concept of a image natively worth money in the same way that an image has metadata or location data tied to it, I thought was going to change the internet, and the ability to have an asset that was an individual asset. So for instance, the difference between a fungible asset like Bitcoin, where all, one Bitcoin, if you add that to a pile of Bitcoin and pull a Bitcoin out, it's all the same. With an NFT, it's like a pile of Pokemon cards, right? And you put your Pikachu in, you're going to want to get something that has equivalent value like a Charizard back out. You're not going to want necessarily a Beedrill out. So that concept of, having a unique asset was fundamental to the next wave of the internet.
Good metaphor, man. I appreciate that as a Pokemon trainer going on 20 years for sure. Can you kindly tell me, what advice could you give to anyone who's interested in getting involved in the NFT space?
Yeah, I'm going to lump NFTs and DAOs into the same thing because these communities have a lot of overlap. So a DAO is essentially a company, but it's actually owned by the community, and there's no CEO or corporate structure, and it's completely decentralized. I think the best thing people should do is hop into these communities because, they're very unorganized. They're kind of, everyone's going in different directions. Everyone's creating things. And, people with professional backgrounds, let's say you're a project manager, you can put a proposal to the DAO and say, hey, here's my vision of what I can provide. I'm a project manager. I can help build this roadmap out. Maybe I create a developer advocacy program, like anything that you would do in your corporate job to create a program or create some sort of work. You should propose that to a DAO, and you'd be surprised at how many times you will be recruited out of these ecosystems. At Tracer DAO, go to tracer.finance, join our Discord. We've actually recruited people out of the community versus posting that job as a open job.
But how do people get paid inside a DAO? Like, so how does the salaries and stuff like that work?
So we have a treasury that we vote, and the community votes to allocate to different people for different things that they provide. So in some cases, you might get tokens allocated to you on a vesting schedule. And so it's not necessarily you quit your 9 to 5, but it's like, hey, there's this other potential earning opportunity that if I do really well and the network does really well, then maybe I can quit my job in the near future. The other aspect is Mycelium, the company that I'm actually directly employed by, is actually a service provider to the DAO. So if we don't do a good job as a service provider, and there's other companies like Bankless that also provide service to the DAO, they get voted out and their contracts are not renewed. But at the end of the day, we're beholden to the governance holders of that DAO.
So as a whole, how do you feel that DAOs, NFTs, blockchain are changing the job market as a whole?
Yeah, I think earlier someone said that there's an abundance in the space. And I think anytime you have a bunch of economic activity created, you have opportunity. And so right now we're seeing an explosion of economic value being created in crypto. It's not happening in other parts of, Web 2. Like if you go say, hey, I'm a Web 2 company, I'm doing this. Yeah, you could raise some money. But if you go and say, hey, I'm solving a specific problem in the crypto world where there's this, growing opportunity that's growing faster than the internet grew back in the 90s. Like this is growing faster than the internet. This is the next internet. So if you're creating things in this space, you will get funding much easier. And on an individual level, everything I just said, you'll get funding as an individual, not just necessarily, a company or a founder.
Fantastic, man. And I know personally, because I've seen a couple of your talks going on to YouTube, but I know that you love to give talks at colleges and educational establishments free of charge. Can you tell us why you do that, right? And how people get in contact to get you speaking at their university?
Yes, I've talked to banks that are top 10 in the world about NFTs. I actually encourage someone from the bank who is a senior engineer, leave that job and pursue Web3. So I apologize to the bank that brought me to that talk. But no, I talked to MBA programs. I just spoke at a global MBA program. They had senior finance people there doing their MBAs, and I'm showing them the CryptoPunks website. I'm like, this alien sold for $7 million. This alien's currently listed for $100 million. There was $1.6 billion in 1 year volume here. The minimum price of a CryptoPunk is $373,000 US, and they don't get it. They're like, I don't understand. And that's okay. At the end of the day, this is market participants that have come together to create a market. So don't justify the market. Try and look at the data, and what does the data tell us? So I try and convey that in chats, and I do it for free because my economic incentive is to bring more people into the community, bring more people into the tent, not from an economic standpoint, but just from an acceptance standpoint and education standpoint.
That was awesome, man. I wish we had more time to keep on going, but I'm going to ask you one more question because I know the audience are going to love this. What advice could you give to anyone, right, who would be interested in creating their own art piece as NFTs? So they may be a traditional artist or a music artist, right? What advice should they be given by you to get involved in that space?
Yeah, so I got two answers here. So let's say you're a brand, you're looking, I've talked to brands, authentic brands. They do like Juicy Couture and some very large iconic brands. And if you're a brand looking to enter the space, don't necessarily go and create a collection. Like, I've seen some celebrity ones. Grimes just did it. Hers hasn't done well. She minted at $7,500. It's now trading at $1,200. So you're kind of screwing your community there. So if you're a major brand, I think the best thing to do is go out and buy one. Go join one of these communities. What Visa did is instead of Visa issuing NFTs, they went and bought a CryptoPunk and they said, hey, we're looking to learn. And if you go look at Visa's tweets where they announced that, they have tens of thousands of people who have retweeted that. Their next other tweets have maybe like 1 or 2 retweets. So you can see that as a brand entering the space, when you say, hey, I care about what you're doing, it has a bigger impact than you going issuing it. And if you're a creator, You got to build that community up. In March or February of this year, you could have put anything on OpenSea and it would have sold. Today, that's not the case. Today, you need to have provenance. You need to prove that you've been working on this for a while. There has to be a reason for people to buy it more than just the, let's say, visual appeal. They want to buy part of who you are as a person. And that is where you bring your personality out.
That was beautiful, man. I really appreciate you joining us. And if anybody would like to get in contact with Josh, there are links to his social medias in the description of this, like of the video below.
And my LinkedIn has my Calendly. Book me for some time.
Yeah,
Cheers.
do that for sure. Cheers, Josh. Enjoy the rest of your day. So getting involved in the NFT space could mean you can have an idea where previously it didn't really go anywhere, right? But the NFT space opens up so many doors, and the person that we have speaking now is called Benjamin Peralta. He is the founder of Xperia View, and he's also the project marketing manager for AlgoPair. And Xperia View essentially brings the film industry to NFTs, right? I'm not going to say any more. Benjamin, thank you so much for joining, my friend. And how are you today?
I'm great. What is going on? How are you doing?
I'm very good, man. I love the background. Very
appreciate
meta.
it. Appreciate it.
Tell everyone, how did you get involved in the NFT space?
Yeah, so I actually started my NFT or blockchain journey at 17, making small purchases with Bitcoin that I now regret I made. But I really got into it more before NFTs came out. I was really thinking about ways to monetize on art and ways to actually own, not whether it's the original art piece, but a copy of it that you can monetize. So when NFT came out, it was kind of like the 3-letter word that would fill in the blanks that I've been trying to solve for the last 4 or 5 years.
That's interesting, man. And can you tell everyone in your own words, what is Xperia View and how do they get involved?
Of course. Yeah. So currently my team and I are building an alternative solution for traditional film release. We created a platform where you can distribute NFT film copy that will allow filmmakers to monetize every time someone buys, trades, or resells their content. So this is not just better film experience in the sense that creators can now upgrade the video content like they kind of do in Apple right now, but it also keeps the filmmakers paid and in the driver's seat of their small business, which is now film.
And how does Xperia View offer a better solution to film directors and producers?
So we work mainly with, so right now indie filmmakers have little to no ways of distribution, right? When you look at major studios, they take 30% off of everything you return, whether it's a return on the investment or just paying you back. And the alternative is streaming platforms pay you traditionally 120% of your investment of the film. So you made a 20% profit that you have to divvy between hundreds of people when whoever made you help the film. So we created a distribution platform because there's no reason there shouldn't be one with the traditional marketplace fee of 2.5%, where filmmakers can mint a certain amount of films, sell them, and then receive the profit without giving up any ownership and without choke holding them to our platform,
And obviously, with any company that's going to get involved within the NFT space, there's going to be so many hurdles and challenges and things like this, right? What has been the driving factor to motivate you to continue pushing to creating this incredible company?
Honestly, it's been these filmmakers. It started out with my thought if this would be in the music space, concerts, stuff like that. And filmmakers were the more receptive people in this industry. And just me telling them I can create a platform in which you can get your film out there was enough. And just seeing how receptive they are to that, how willing they are to help on the platform and join.
That's fantastic, man. And is there any advice that you can give to any budding entrepreneur who's interested in getting his or her company involved in the NFT space?
Yeah, I liked what Joshua said a lot, honestly, resonated with me about the visa, just showing you care. A lot of people are jumping into this blind, not giving the right information, or overvaluing their product, in which, like he said, it really messes up the community. So just do your research and, collab. A lot of people in the NFT space, fortunately, I've been blessed to talk to them and they've been receptive to giving me feedback and getting feedback on the other end. So I would say that just don't be afraid of getting feedback and don't be afraid to give feedback.
That's awesome, dude. I really appreciate you joining us today. And if anyone would like to get involved with Xperia View or speak to Benjamin, there are links to all of his social media channels in the description of this video today. Benjamin,
Awesome.
speak to you soon. It's nice talking to you.
Bye-bye.
Take care, man. Bye-bye. Up next, we have Cassie from Zap Theory. She's the CEO of the company. Cassie, how are you doing today?
Amazing. Thank you so much for putting this together. I love the diversity of projects and the diversity of faces. It's very refreshing.
Thank you so much. Can you kindly give everyone the introduction in terms of what Zap Theory is and what you guys do?
Yeah. Zap Theory is a social token platform, and we're making all tokens social. So from NFTs to ERC20 tokens, we also have the capability of minting the ERC20 tokens. And we are the home of Jim Jones, the hip hop artist, Capo Coin.
Capo Coin. I love Jim Jones. Can you kindly tell me, how did you get involved in NFTs?
So
what was your journey?
Sure. In 2017, I received a payment in Bitcoin. And from there, I kept my eyes on it. I did like a 2-week deep dive, like a really deep dive, watching YouTube videos, listening to audios, reading books, reading articles. And at the end of the 2 weeks, I came across Brock Pierce, who says a billionaire is a person who affects the lives of 1 billion people. And I was like, okay, it's not just all Lambos. Like I can totally get down with this crypto thing. And then not too long after, and within the next year, I came across NFTs and didn't realize quite how big they would become, but we're like, this is definitely where things are headed. It definitely felt like it's a more palatable on-ramp for people to come into the crypto space. It's something that people can see, still can't touch it, but you can see it. And it's, I think it's been a very open space for people to be introduced to crypto.
Fantastic. And can you kindly elaborate on any of the projects you guys are currently working on at Zap Theory?
Yes, so we're our social tokens as well as NFTs on our platform have utility, and that's one of the things that we help creators, including artists, physical artists, musicians, hip hop artists, obviously, and creators in any space. We help them to find a match for the utility. So one of the use cases has been a virtual meet and greet on our live streaming app. We have a live streaming app called Zack Life. And so people have an intimate experience with icons that that they really enjoy being around. And we're also helping through Zap Labs projects create their NFTs and launch them, create their communities, or help them to generate those communities.
That's very interesting. And can you just elaborate for anyone in the audience who doesn't know what a social token is, like what it is and how it works?
Sure. So a social token, again, is an ERC20 token, the way that we have it right now. We are looking to expand on different blockchains. And the community comes together to contribute to the token. And then the utility comes from the use cases that we have on our platform include proffering ideas, creating contests, as well as essentially upvoting people's suggestions and things. And then there's also governance attached to it. So for example, if you have a hip hop artist, you might say, you might have a question like, what should he wear at the next concert? And then people can vote on that kind of thing. And so, yeah, the governance piece I think is going to be really huge for eventually moving toward being a DAO, which is a decentralized autonomous organization. I think someone else spoke about it recently too. But yeah, so we're really excited about where we're headed, not just what we've created so far, and the integration of the MetaMask that will be in our next iteration will allow for people to have specific access based on the tokens that they have or NFTs that they have. So we're really excited about that.
That's fantastic. It's very interesting. Can you kindly give some advice to anyone in your position possibly who would like to get involved in the NFT space, either as a creator, curator, founder, entrepreneur, like just any type of advice that you think would be useful?
Absolutely. So I think other people have said it, but joining communities, being on the Clubhouse groups, being on the Zap Life groups, being a part of conversations on Twitter, listening in, but then John Dewey, the philosopher, believes in learning by doing. So, and I'm totally about learning by doing. So jump in. You might make some mistakes that are going to cost you some money. So don't do anything that you're not willing to, lose on. But certainly jump in and learn by doing.
Zap Life. I appreciate that. It was really nice to have you come on board and speak today. If anybody would like to get in touch with Cassie or Zap Fury, there are all the social media links. I've said it too many times, sorry. There's all the social media links in the description of the video below. Enjoy the rest of your day, Cassie. It's been nice talking to you. Thank you so much. Up next, we have Chris Celine, who is the founder of darkblock.io. Chris, hello. Thank you for joining. How are you doing?
Thank you, Zach. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Can you tell everyone what Darkblock is?
Yes, so Darkblock is a decentralized protocol that enables access controls for creators in the NFT economy. So we want those creators to have new business models for releasing their content, and we think access control is key to that. We also think that content rental is going to be a big thing around NFTs in the future, and we also think that access control is key to that piece. So things like the future, like decentralized Spotify, Patreon, even social media like Facebook. We want our protocol to power all these things, and we hope to be a fundamental protocol for the future.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much for explaining that. Can you tell everyone, Chris, how did you get involved in NFTs?
Yeah, so back in February, so I'm relatively new to this game, but back in February, my cousin called me up and he's like, this NFT thing is blowing up. And I'm like, huh? And he's like, go check it out. It's crazy, but it's not figured out yet. So go figure something out. My cousin runs a creative firm out of Boston, a very hip creative firm called Black Math. They did a number of NFT projects, and he was kind of skeptical at first, but then kind of saw it growing and growing. And he had worked with Beeple in the past, so he was very interested in what was going on with Beeple. And, he just opened my eyes to it, and I started looking at it. I'm like, wow, this is pretty powerful. This is the future. But as I started talking with friends about it, they're like, what do I get when I buy an NFT? And I'm just like, oh, we're just old. We don't get it. The young people get it. But then I started looking at what Beeple was doing, and even he released these physical tokens along with the NFTs at first. And I'm like, is that really the solution? So that's what led to the idea of kind of a decentralized protocol for controlling access to give those NFT owners something truly special that only the NFT owner gets. And, I brought this idea to my cousin. And he's like, yep, let's do it. So he's a partner. The rest is history.
That's awesome. Can you elaborate on any of the projects that you guys are currently trying to work on at the moment at Darkblock? Or is it all hush hush?
Yeah, we have a few NFT projects that we're working on to kind of spread awareness of the various use cases around building dark blocks and content access control. So they're not real hush hush, but we're actually building a project that is depixelated punks. So taking a pixelated punk and actually generating a real face out of it. And it's very strange and creepy and interesting. And then you get a special piece of content in the dark block that is like a motion version of it. And it's pretty interesting. So we just brought somebody new on board to spearhead that. And so that's one of them. But, we're also working on various ways to deliver this content to people. Right now we have a TV app out there, but we're working on delivery through the web, working on an API for integration with partners, things like that. But yeah, it's all about kind of building these use cases for us. And so we're working on some projects around that.
That's fantastic. And obviously, as you mentioned, that you had to bring on like a brand new person to join the team to help grow this business. Can you tell the audience what is the most challenging aspect of trying to find the right people that fit to help you grow your company?
Yeah, when it comes to tech talent, I think it's very hard to find somebody with actual experience in this industry because they've all already been hired. They're already working on something. But at the end of the day, this is programming. So, if you find a programmer that is interested in this type of development, they can learn the rest of it. So, we're willing to work with people that are green to the space. That's not a problem. when it comes to this most recent hire that's tackling a specific project, he's a very artsy guy. He's also very technically minded. So, and he's also a friend of a co-founder. So, you know, that was kind of a natural fit. He's just a good guy. So just great fit overall. But, you know, we're trying to find anybody who really wants to get into the space that can learn quickly. And, you know, we're open to working with anybody.
That's fantastic. And Chris, as a whole, how do you feel as a CEO of a company that the NFT market is impacting the job market?
Yeah, so I mean, I think this is one of the biggest use cases for crypto in general. It's gaining a lot of, you know, mainstream attention. And I think that's going to start sucking all the talent out of the tech companies, like, you know, that are interested in this shiny new object. So I think it's bad news for other tech companies that want to retain talent. It's good news for us. We've got this pretty cool new technology to work on. So I think it's going to be a big draw for people. And I think it's not going to be super hard, but, you know, salaries are sky high when it comes to, you know, tech. So that's a bit of an issue. But on the converse of that is, you know, we're becoming increasingly a global economy. So we're hiring people all over the place. We've got people in India, Pakistan, Ukraine, Serbia, Portugal, Costa Rica, so everywhere. So, you know, truly a global company. And I think that's, you know, the way it's going.
That's fantastic. It's very interesting, man. Can you kindly tell me what advice can you give to anyone who's interested in getting out of the traditional markets and transferring over to the crypto markets?
Yeah, just do it. You know, go make an NFT, go buy some NFTs, try to figure out, you know, what other people are doing, but then, you know, either make a twist on it or try to bring something creative to the process. Also, there's a lot of pain points need to be solved. Like the UX around crypto in general is terrible. So there's so much pain involved in getting into it and people are still getting into it, that once these pain points are solved, it's going to open it up to the rest of the world. So work on a pain point, you know, try to do something, experience some pain, and then go try to, you know, solve that pain.
That was beautiful, man. I really appreciate that. And is there any final thoughts or final words that you have before we move on to the next speaker?
We're hiring. You know, we just raised a seed round, announced that last week. So, you know, if you want to partner with us, you want to work for us, you know, hit me up.
I'm sure David James is going to have a word or two to say about that. So yeah, he's probably going to help you on that for sure.
Absolutely.
That was awesome, Chris. It was a pleasure speaking to you. If anybody would like to learn more about Darkblock or Chris, all the social media links are in the description of this video. Thank you, Chris. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Have a good one.
Take care. Bye-bye. All right. Only half an hour to go. I hope everyone is enjoying the show so far. This would not be an NFT event if we didn't have people who got involved in crypto very, very, very early on, and we've had a few of them already. The next guy started off in recruitment, then he got his Bored Ape, and now he's growing an NFT company. His name is Steven from the Neon Dreams LLC company. I can't seem to find you. There you are. Hey, Steve. Thank you so much for joining us today. And how are you doing?
I'm doing really well, Zach. Thanks for having me here. I appreciate the time and enjoying it so far. Thanks again.
What is that skull crusher behind you?
That is one of our Mech Arcade mechs, one of the 17 generative 3D assets that we're dropping on December 12th. So we're excited. Been a long process to get where we are, and you know, we actually just launched our website and opened our Discord and everything up today, to where we're really starting our push and you know, getting the product out there in front of people.
That's awesome, man. I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions about that, but first I'm going to roll back a bit and kindly ask you to give everyone your journey into NFTs. Like, so how did all of this begin for you?
Yeah, so in 2013, a good friend of mine, Dutch Boyd, told me first about Bitcoin. It was about 60 bucks a coin. I didn't listen. About 3 years later, in 2016, I finally listened and made my first purchase when Bitcoin was a little under 600. Kind of steady used that and accumulated cryptocurrencies to where, you know, the start of this year, NFTs started popping off, and being in the space, I saw some influencers that I respected kind of mention them, and started minting them on my own. One of the first projects I got into was actually on Cardano, Space Buds. I minted those, and then that same great friend Dutch Boyd was like, "You got to look at these apes. They're the next big thing." So I went, and that same day, the floor was about 0.4, but it was the day really they sold out. And I bought 5 right away and, kind of aped into the club and have been a member since. And then just steady been following the space, seeing where it's gone, and, obviously minted a ton of things along the way and been involved with the community.
So obviously, as it relates to NFTs, communities is a huge part of it, right? Like, can you express why communities are important as it relates to NFTs?
Yeah, I think it's important for a few reasons. I mean, one, people have mentioned it before, but I think this space is one of the most welcoming communities there is. We know to grow this space, we have to be welcoming and friendly with everyone and give them that information to make it make sense. And that's one of the hardest things to do. And I think these NFT projects that have done well at bringing in kind of newcomers and showing them the ropes, as it's a little complicated still, obviously people are making it easier and easier, but I think that community aspect and feeling a part of it just makes it so much easier to kind of stay in that Discord and, stay involved with it. And you feel that ownership, when you have an NFT, you physically own it. Now I'm a Bored Ape, with people like Post Malone, it's insane. And if you said that 6 months ago, you never thought of that, but it's almost like, I think one of the best ways to describe these NFT communities is it's like a country club. You're joining to be a part of that club. And then if you want to sell your rights to that, you can and move on to a new community. It's really, open source, assets that have more than just the picture. It's a community, and that's what it's all about. And that's what our project's all about. We want to build a community where whether you've minted 100 projects or this is your first one, that you can come in, learn, and be a part of it from the start.
So talk about your project now. I'm super excited to hear about how you guys got inspired to create the Meta Arcade and also the Dream Studio there.
Yeah, so Neon Dream Studios is just kind of our parent company. We want to be non-anon. We want people to know who we are so that they can, I think that's something that some projects fail at is, not being upfront and proud of what they are, but we're super proud of all the hard work we've put in. So we want to make sure that, we're bringing, those people into the space to be big on it. So it's, Neon Dreams was the parent company. We have other projects coming, but then Mech Arcade came about because Dutch Boyd's wife found 2 amazing Brazilian artists on Reddit. They just released their stuff the same day. We went and bought it all out because we fell in love with these 3D characters that what ended up being Gabriel, who created in Brazil, 22-year-old kid who makes this amazing artwork. So we actually reached out and we're like, hey, what if we could help you make a 10,000 NFT generative drop? Come on board with us. We want you to be equal partners in this whole business opportunity, and basically brought in a talented team, him and his brother Gustavo, to build these mechs. And then we've helped with the back end to kind of create the asset pool. He did this all through Unity. So we have, back end coding that's going to randomly generate these to where everybody's going to get a unique asset that, is as rare based on what you kind of the luck of the draw get.
That's so fascinating, man. I really appreciate you explaining that. Can you kindly express how you feel, right, that the NFT market is changing the job market as a whole, especially from your background in recruiting and stuff like this?
Yeah, I think you're seeing a lot of skill sets transfer to this, space because, it pays well. It's very competitive because everybody wants the top talent. There's a lot of picking from other projects and trying to get people on board. I mean, the obvious thing is artists. I mean, if you're an artist and not doing NFTs, you're doing a disservice, because one of the problems with being a traditional artist is when you release your art, you lose ownership of that. If somebody resells it down the road, you don't get any residual income from that. So to not get on the blockchain and get that to where you can get a kickback every time you sell something is, in my opinion, just silly as an artist to not get in. So I feel every traditional artist eventually will get into the space. But then when you get into more, traditional jobs, obviously anybody with strong development, skills and coding, You know, there's a space for them in this industry. You know, everybody's still learning this, but you know, the Solidity smart contracts, if you have knowledge of that, I mean, you can command insane dollars to help create smart contracts in that. And then one of the most important positions to us that we've built is, you know, a community manager. Communities are everything. Some of these Discord communities have been hacked and, you know, money stolen from the community. So community managers, people that have a strong, you know, skill set in Discord. You know, I thought I knew Discord, but then you talk to these community managers and the features and the capabilities of Discord is just out of this world, to where you'd never think that somebody who's just strong at community kind of management and Discord could command, I mean, up to 6 figures for some of these projects, to just literally be on a computer and, you know, managing people and making sure, you know, all these NFT projects want to have a safe and inclusive, you know, group of people in their area. So it's crucial to have that community manager kind of taking care of that. And it's a job where, as a co-founder, we don't have enough time to keep eyes on that. So we need to hire somebody to constantly be there and make sure that nobody's doing anything that, you know, we don't approve of. It's like I said, we want to be a welcoming community to where anybody can come in and feel safe and learn about NFTs and this whole space in itself.
That's fantastic, man. I really appreciate you saying that, and I appreciate you joining today. Is there any final words that you would like to say, or even to plug your business just before you go?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we'd love you to check out mecharcade.com. You know, I think the biggest thing I can say about this space is, you know, kind of what we've said before. It's welcoming. Do your own research. There's so many things out there to kind of learn and grow in this space. Everybody starts from zero. So get on YouTube, get on Twitter, get on Discord, join groups and be active. That's the best way. You know, I get friends all the time asking, you know, what should I buy? What should I do? And I always just steer them that way, that, you know, it's the eye of the beholder. You need to get in there, immerse yourself in the space. And luckily it's welcoming. We know we need everybody to kind of understand that. And without that, you know, nobody's going to be successful. So, you know, I think that's the biggest advice. Just do your research. There's so many good people out there that have great things to share with you, and you know, just do your research and get out there.
Awesome, man. Really appreciate you joining. And if anybody would like to get in contact with Stephen, use the links in the description below. Enjoy the rest of your day, Stephen.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time, Zach, and everybody enjoy the podcast. It was great hearing everybody talk. Thanks again for what you're doing.
Thank you so much, buddy. Up next, we have Key from Key Difference Media, the CEO of the company. Hello, Mr. Key. How are you doing? Thank you for joining.
Very good, very good. Yes, pretty excited.
Fantastic. Can you kindly tell everyone a little bit about yourself and how you got involved in the NFT and blockchain space?
Okay, so I've been in the world of blockchain since 2013, when I started working with my clients in the gaming space who wanted to use Bitcoin as a payment transactions. And from that point, I've been seen the 4-5 ups and downs in the bull and bear markets. I've been from 2016 worked with various ICO projects and helped them raise over $550 million. And been there through the IEOs, STOs, IDOs, and all the IXOs, whatever the case may be. And pretty much work with most of the brands in the crypto space with my agency, Key Difference Media. So been in the space for long enough. And with NFTs, it's been there for a while, from the early stages when people used to, you know, pull all those ideas and discuss in the developer forums. And I've been looking at all of that and really looking forward at bringing real world utility to it. And that's been my area of curiosity all along. And it's been a great journey right now, looking at where Metaverse stands and how NFTs are working in there.
That's super fascinating, man. Can you tell everyone, what are you guys currently trying to work on at Key Difference Media? What are you doing?
So since 2018, we have been developing Forward Protocol, something that I've been very, very excited about. And this year, our full focus remains on that. Forward Protocol is changing how people adopt blockchain by making things so easy that anyone in the real world with just an idea can come in with no technical expertise, with no need to be a developer, just drag and drop interface, just like WordPress. How WordPress changed the website industry. We wanted to make that blockchain adoption so easy that the ideas can get to life in a matter of minutes. People can deploy their applications and smart contracts and go live, most importantly, without developers, who are very hard to find right now.
And can you kindly tell me, how is Key Difference Media and the Forward Protocol impacting the NFT industry?
So when it comes to anything in NFTs, my major objective has always been to look at what is helping the real world and what is helping adoption happen. So with Forward Protocol, we focused on a proof of ownership contract, a contract which anyone can deploy in a minute, through which they are able to not only deploy NFTs, which is the easier part, but actually rent, license, and trade NFTs. We want the real world trade and commerce to function in the world of NFTs, and at the same time, from adoption perspective, to be able to mint NFTs in a large scale and also function on the NFT space gaslessly. So when we are able to bridge that gap, and because like we all know, not many people out there know how to deal with MetaMask, ledgers, treasures, and function with all that. But if we can make that so simple, the number of people who will enter the space would be so much more. And that's where the Forward Protocol focuses on, because we are looking at right now bringing massive millions of people's certifications online, people's records online, and where people's creative ideas can just go in, like Shutterstock for images. If people can put their creatives out there and not only sell but license it, it brings a whole new marketplace. It brings a whole new area of operation, moving away not only from the speculative element but to an element of actual utility with those things that are being created. And I believe the market size there is 10 or 100 times more when those elements of trade and commerce comes into play. And that's where Forward Protocol is focusing on now.
And it's very obvious that blockchain and NFTs have changed your life, right? Can you just explain to the audience how it has changed your life?
Okay, so it is, I believe it's a mix of how we philosophically feel things, because in the previous world, we had perceptions on how things operate. And now with the decentralization and how NFTs by themselves, the ownership of NFTs and ability to not be dependent on some other entity for any form of assets, it is not only revolutionizing the model of function, but it is changing how every individual coming out there, they can put their creative things out there. They can bring to life whatever they envision. They don't have the dependability with on the institutions and organizations. They can just go live. They can they can just do it, and they don't really need to worry and think and plan too much. It is becoming so much simpler, and many artists and many people around the world, they had to depend on publishers and various entities. Now they can just get to the market, and as we see, many NFT companies are out there who are even helping that happen more and more. So that is not just changing the the trade part, but it's changing how we feel fundamentally, how we live our lives. I just saw right now people are having meetings in metaverses, conferences, and boardrooms, and it's different. I mean, it's a whole new world that's opening up out there, which none of us have even envisioned when the NFTs were discussed in the forums a year or 2 years back. We knew it's an ownership model, but we didn't know to the level it would be expanding. And looking at that in reality, it's mind-blowing.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Mr. Key. It's been a pleasure speaking to you. And if anyone would like to learn more about Forward Protocol or Key Difference Media, there are all the links to the social medias in the description of the video here today. Enjoy the rest of your day, Mr. Key. Thank you. Take care. Up next, we have the VP of People at Rarible.com, Marsha Boone. Hi, Marsha. Thank you so much for joining. How are you doing?
I'm good. Hi, Zach. Hi, everyone. It's been an incredible time. I thought I'll just work a little bit, but I'm like, I've been engaged. Thank you very much, everyone, all the speakers.
Thank you so much for that. It has been a fantastic event so far.
I love it.
Can you kindly tell everyone how you got involved in the NFT space?
My story is a little different. I came to work for Rarible, really, and that's how I discovered NFT space for myself. I mean, I was crypto curious before, obviously, like everyone else. Got some for myself, played with it a little bit, but then I found out about Rarible. And Rarible, for those who haven't heard, it's a leading marketplace and protocol actually for creating, selling, collecting NFTs, and we are on a mission to unlock that universal creativity by bringing collectors and creators and consumers all together on that intersection of culture and creative, like kind of innovation. And that's how I found out about NFTs. I got a call in the middle of summer and I met with the team and I just got, I don't know, like mesmerized, inspired by the energy, by the dedication, by their idea, and that, yeah, dedication and passion to make that impact in the world. So that was the beginning of my journey.
That's beautiful. And can you kindly tell us, as the VP of People at the Rarible company, part of your day-to-day life, like what is it exactly that you're in charge of and you're responsible for?
Well, I'm really proud to be a part of bringing folks into, similarly to me, right, to bring people into NFT space, blockchain space to work for us. I'm in charge of quadrupling our team this summer. That happened, and we keep growing like everyone else really in the market. And I'm really like by bringing folks from different areas of expertise in different industries. That's been my day to day. Also, being a partner to my teams here in really helping together to go take this all mainstream. You know, like on a bigger picture, Rarible is all about taking NFTs in mainstream.
And on that note, can you kindly explain how is your company impacting the NFT space?
I love that. Yes, absolutely. We developed, you know, humbly, we developed one of the most open and marketplaces for NFTs. You know, under 10 minutes, you can come in and mint an NFT, and that's really, I feel like it really gives, like, opens it up to a new generation of creators. You know, it gives tools to create, it gives tools to monetize, and one of our features on lazy minting gives a tool of, you know, creating something without paying anything up front and mint an NFT. That's fantastic. That in my mind, it opens it for many more folks. They are also in the continuing efforts to make it more accessible. We partnered with Work and allowed folks to be able to pay with their credit cards on our website as well. So those are some of the exciting steps that we take to take it more mainstream.
That's fantastic. And can you kindly give some advice to anyone, if they're like a product designer or a creative or a dev, like what advice can you give them if they're interested in getting involved with an NFT marketplace or an NFT company?
There are two parts to that question, right? Like NFT is definitely changing up the market, job market for sure. And some of the folks spoke here, I think the statistics is like 4% of labor force. Like, is it true even? Like, that's where I see the numbers quit their jobs because of crypto and NFT investments. And that's really exciting, right? People getting control of their financial future. They're getting control of like other opportunities to succeed. It's one of the sides, like getting in, and the other one, yeah, like do what I did, get into Rarible, get into other companies in this space. It's booming, it's growing. It's we see folks from other industries coming in, really passionate. What I haven't seen in other industries before, working in different amazing startups before, I see people have that passion and getting in. I open my website applications and I'm like, oh my God, like amazing folks are interested in this place. It also changes up the approach of people that get into job market. You know, we had the one guy that minted his application, you know, his job application on Rarible. Like, well, we are going to interview him, okay? I was like,
and I hope you got the job, right?
You did. Like, don't tell him yet. I'm working on the offer. But
oh, okay, he's probably tuning into this, and now we know. So
hi,
congratulations,
Finn.
buddy.
Yes.
Hey, Finn.
Yes. That's one of the things. You know, we found one of our key leadership folks on Twitter, you know, in one of the conversations. So my advice is really just be bold. Don't worry about being vulnerable. Be vulnerable. You know, join Rarible community, mint. Take advantage of lazy minting and join communities in general. Talk to folks. Message me, like Twitter me, like, you know, tweet me. Just get out there. We all, as somebody else said here, like one of the speakers, we really all know just 5% of the things. You know, there's a lot more to learn. We can do it together.
Absolutely. That was a beautiful, beautiful conversation. I really appreciate that. Is there anything else that you would like to add?
You know, there's so much been said here. I really concur to a lot of it. My favorite part of NFT field and how it affects the job market, because it is my baby. I'm talking about job market mostly, right? It's how it's making it more accessible, more transparent, digital, and similar to what NFT does to the industry and to the world in general. That's what it does to the job market, and it's beautiful. Take advantage of that, you know.
That's fantastic. If anybody would really like to speak to Marsha, there is a link to all of her social media in the description below. I really appreciate you, Marsha. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Zach.
Speak to you
Thank you for
soon.
having me.
Take care. All right, guys, like we're almost coming to the end of the show, and you know what? That has been incredible. I appreciate every single speaker. However, I need a little help to wrap this baby up. And I thought, who better can I invite to help me close this show than the guy who walks around NFT NYC every single day that they're live, interviewing people, right? And here he is right now. Ian, great to see you. I need a little bit of help to close up the show, so I appreciate you joining. So how have you found the show so far?
Oh, it's been so good. I mean, I love what the approach that you and the Davids at Blockchain Recruiters are taking. You know, you're providing value to the 17 of us or the 15 of us that are joining you. You're letting us leverage your platform and talk about what we're excited about. And also, this is a great chance for us to get to know you, what you can do as recruiters, and also for us to kind of tell our story about the talent we're looking for or our experience. So I'm all about it. I like this approach. Yay. Yay for you and the team.
Yay for you, man. Can you give everyone the background in terms of how you got involved in the NFT space and also how you got involved with co-producing NFT NYC?
Yeah, in 2017, I started running my own events at Twitter's headquarters. The first one was Future of Tech, kind of led to the Future of Blockchain, and then blockchain, all these things in the crypto market. I really was attracted to smart contracts, and I felt like what CryptoKitties was doing was maybe the most exciting version of smart contract development that built communities. And there was kind of this essence of, wow, could this lead to DAOs and DACs? From there, Jody Rich and Cameron Bale from NFT.cred came to Alex and Devin at OpenSea, said, hey, let's launch an annual conference, which is NFT NYC. And I was able to join them in the beginning, and I just didn't really know much. So I started asking questions. I did like a couple hundred interviews every year for our event, asking the speakers to jump on YouTube with me, kind of like this. And I was just inquisitive. I just kept asking, like, okay, how do you build community? Tell me about the platform. How do you build tech? What's the future going to look like? What future are you trying to create? And that was the beginning of things. And then at our company, Attention Live, we built out NFT integration so that our podcasters or musicians that use our audio platform can mint on multiple chains right from our software. So that was kind of a bit of the background on my involvement.
And talk about that a little bit more, because I'm super interested to understand, because as a company, we speak with people who have podcasts and events all the time, right? How can anyone take advantage of Attend Live, and how does it work?
Yeah, go to attn.live. You'll get a better idea in a much shorter period of time than I could explain to you. But pretty simply, I think that everything's going to be foundational around blockchain to run companies. And then we think voice as an interface. The Amazon Lexi devices, the Google Assistant devices, Siri, are going to be the primary interface by which humans interact. So we built a voice interface that creates NFTs on the blockchains. And then we just put in a media company. Our media company is just an audio podcast tool. You talk through our device, whether you're thumbs on glass or speaking to one of these Amazon, Google devices. You do a podcast. It goes on all your channels, your YouTube, your Facebook, your Twitter. We, of course, post it post-production to Spotify, places like that. So it's just a really great distribution tool that pumps out NFTs automatically so we can help our podcasters make money from their content, protect their IP. And then we have the advantage of not having to be 10 fingers on a keyboard, just talking to a voice interface, because we think that gives the developing world the greatest opportunity at creating abundance is to use their voice to create content, protect that content through NFTs, monetize that content through these amazing marketplaces.
That's fantastic, man. Can you kindly tell us how you feel that NFTs as an industry is changing the job market?
Well, in every way. So I don't want to reiterate what everyone else has said. It's been really cool to hear their answers. And so I encourage anybody that's watching this live now, hasn't seen the whole thing, like start from the beginning. If you watch the archive, there's several of these conversations that are worth watching more than once. How is it changing the job market for us might be a more relevant thing to talk about. I think there's a lot of people that did not bring a ton of value to our company when it came to NLP, natural language processing, and conversational AI. Maybe they didn't bring a lot of value to our company in marketing or sales or operations or media company or software development. But NFT is so new that if somebody has drive and hustle and a great work ethic and a great attitude and they work well with people, they can probably figure things out on how to manage a Discord community. They can probably figure things out on how to mint this collection of NFTs or work with this graphic designer. So I think NFTs change the job market in one big way, in that it opens up this wide opportunity for people that are looking to create new skills that have all the right characteristics of a fantastic founding member of a team or a great co-founder or just a great intern to come into this environment and provide great value, because there's not a bunch of weathered and seasoned people in this industry, right? We're all kind of like adolescents at best, still trying to get our feet under us in how we do these things well.
That was beautiful, man. I really appreciate that. And it was very insightful too. Is there anything else that you would really like to add before we wrap this up, Ian?
I think my final thought for everybody might just be to the 15 or so people that spoke. Thank you for using your voice. Thanks for being courageous. Thanks for taking huge risks in this industry. Many of you I am inspired by. I think about the first speaker today, the CEO of Sandbox, what him and Sebastian, the rest of the team have done. I celebrate their success with the big fundraise that happened recently, and all that's happened in the metaverse because of what they're doing. My kids, 9 and 12 years old, are radically impacted by the opportunity with Sandbox instead of Minecraft and things of that nature. And so I would say, I'm inspired by you. Thank you for what you're doing. And let's keep building this together and encouraging one another and celebrating each other's wins. I think that's really important for all of us on this call, is that we celebrate with one another, because a rising tide can raise all ships together.
Absolutely. That was a beautiful sentiment, Ian. Really appreciate you joining today and helping me wrap up the show. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you so much, Zach.
So the final speaker that we have is the CEO of Blockchain Recruiters, Mr. David Hampton. I hope you are doing well and you've enjoyed the show. Let me just find you. There you are. I'm just going to get you to start your video and unmute yourself. Hello, David. Thanks for joining.
How's it going? How you doing, Zach?
So how have you found the show today?
It's incredibly humbling. It's incredibly enlightening. To say that I'm excited is an understatement.
Fantastic. Can you kindly, just to help really put this all to a close, obviously Blockchain Recruiters decided to host the event and the event for last week and the other 6 or 7 events that we're going to do, right? So can you tell me what are a few of the biggest challenges that your clients face before they come over to Blockchain Recruiters asking you for help?
Yeah, sure. I think some of the folks have touched on, as I'll use Chris Saline's words, some of the pain points that are out there, and I think it goes back to Ian, what Ian just said. There's one of the major challenges is that there aren't a lot of or enough experienced people, given how new the space is, and so really, the juxtaposition that hiring authorities or CEOs or founders find themselves in is finding the right talent with enough experience, quote unquote. And so really, I think the what Ian's alluding to and what Carissa from last week alluded to is you got to find people who have the right drive, who have the right attitude, who are so hungry, ambitious, that with the right aptitude, they can acquire the skills necessary to thrive and to contribute to whatever company or team that they're looking to affiliate themselves with.
That was beautiful, man. Can you give some advice to any companies that are interested in hiring new staff?
Yes. I think managing expectations in terms of, look, we all know that the hard skills of the developers and the technical side is warranted. But I think that finding someone who's got 12 years or 15 years of blockchain engineering experience you're going to be found wanting for that. And so I think adjusting expectations in terms of finding someone who's like I said, hungry, who's got the aptitude, who's shown that they can do those technical skills and have the right soft skills and want to learn. I think that's what I think finding people who are coachable, who want to be mentored, who want to learn. I think that's really where people need to set their targets on.
That's fantastic. And could you kindly tell us why a blockchain recruiter is very different to any other recruitment firm that anyone could have encountered before?
I mean, I'm going to step back and take a sec to tell you where my background is and to kind of, I'll bring it full circle with that. So, I mean, I come from a very different background. And I think most recruiters, as my wife once said to me many, many years ago, most people think that there's a linear path to your career path. And I think it's a circle of wire in terms of where you start and you intertwine and it goes around and you end up where you are. And I think that's where a lot of people have found themselves through people's stories, like Nabil, in terms of how he came to be where he is. Ian, many people on today's talks and conference. And so I came from a background of education. I worked with the military. I deployed to Afghanistan. I provided psychological and leadership profiles. And then I found myself trying to figure out what is it that I wanted to do. And going back to Julian's words of, hey, find something you love to do. You'll never work a day in your life. I believe Steve Jobs said it, rest in peace. Who else better than to have said that? Right, in terms of being a pioneer, in terms of what we're embarking on is right now. And so coming back to blockchain recruiters and what makes us different, in terms of what I think that people are seeking or need to seek in this new space, I believe that I'm an example of that. I've become what I am today as a recruiter, not knowing that it was a job before I came into it. I love it, and I haven't worked a day in my life in the last decade. I've done it for free. And so, I mean, I just absolutely love it. And so what makes us different is we are unbelievably passionate about the wave that we are riding right now. I hope it's sincere fervor that I believe that we have. And with that, that helps us compel the right talents to the teams that partner up with us in terms of who they're seeking. And so, and I'll bring it back to, most ways, the way that recruitment firms work, they usually work one of two main ways. And it's been over the history of since World War II, really. It's been on a contingency where they charge a certain percentage. And the problem with that is that it's really unfair to the recruiter because they take all the risk. And then on the flip side, it's the retained search way, which is, again, it's unfair to the client because it doesn't necessarily guarantee results. And so what we've done is we've tried to compromise. We've kind of tried to meet in the middle and say, look, let's share the risk. Let's be partners. And so we've developed what we call a subscription model where we charge a flat rate, guarantee you a certain amount of candidates in your pool that you need for your positions, varying based on how many you need. And we are dedicated in helping you guys find the best talent out there.
That was fantastic. I really appreciate it. And just like everyone else, and then if anybody would really like to speak to David, specifically getting some help with recruiting, there's a link to all of his social media platforms in the description of this live event today. It was David. I appreciate you joining. Thank you so
much, Zach. Appreciate you, man. Really do.
Appreciate you too. Thank you so much. I'm going to get the other David in just to add another few more words. Hey, David James, how has it been for you?
It's been fantastic, but I'm sure everybody's got nauseum. They got to eat. They got to go to the bathroom, whatever. So I just want to say this really quick. And, you know, I've heard already on this chat that people have connected with hiring authorities connected with, and they're already like talking about interviewing for positions. That makes my heart sore, right? One of the things that gets lost is everybody says they know people in their community. But what most CEOs they don't understand what the hiring process needs to be managed. And even though you have a chief of staff, and what David said it so eloquently, but what we do at Blockchain Recruiters is we get a clear understanding of what is the most ambiguous space, and changing in 90 days, the NFT space is going to be so different than what it is right now. And so the need you thought you had on that person is different. So the key that makes us different is before we actually just start sending out candidates, we have a clear understanding of what a good candidate is. And we want to make sure that our vision and your vision meet. And we manage that process all the way through. That's the thing that actually gets lost. Okay. The candidates are free. The process you pay for. That's it. Thank you, everybody. I'm overwhelmed. Appreciate it.
So that was it. And I really would like to take a minute just to thank all of our speakers today. You guys have inspired me so much. I had the pleasure of being able to speak to each of the speakers for a much longer period of time before I decided to have them share their knowledge and their experience. So for the speakers that are on the call still, can you kindly turn on your cameras, kind of take a little bow and just say goodbye to the audience? I really appreciate every single one of you guys for joining. There you all are, you wonderful, wonderful people. As Ian said, you guys are so courageous, right, to take your time to inspire other people, and I appreciate all of you. So thank you so much. Yeah, that's it. This has been awesome.
Great show.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks for having
me. Be safe and God bless everybody.
For sure, absolutely. This has been a wrap, guys. I appreciate everyone joining. There are going to be many, many, many more blockchain events going on over the next few months. Connect with myself or David Hampton, right, to learn more about how you could speak at any one of our events, how you guys can be a client of ours and we can give you the best talent in the world. Or just connect just to speak to us and just to have a nice conversation. That's it. It's been a wrap. Enjoy the rest of your day. Stay happy. Stay tuned. Bye for now.
God bless. Salam alaikum.
Yay! We're done. All right. Well done, everyone.